Chaim. All right, so Parshas Tazria, HaChodesh. We talk about how the Tzad Shava. What does Hilchos Tumah V'Tara have to do with HaChodesh Zelachem, Rosh Chodoshim? Right. So there's in the Psukim, the Sfarim are a little bit bothered. The Mefarshim, the Isha Ki Tazria, and so then it talks about starts off with Tumas Leda, but it just mentions in between Beini Ubayom Hashmini Imo B'Soro Laso. If she gives birth to a Zachar, she's tummy for 7 days. And by the way, that kid, on the 8th day, give him a bris milah. Breaks rank with Hilchos Tumah Taras. It continues to go on and explain, Tumah of Yoles if she gives birth to an Akeva, and then Zava and Tsaras, Zava, Tsaras, right? So it's sort of, what is the halacha of bris milah doing there? Like, it doesn't discuss that on the 30th day, give him opinion of Ben, even though it goes on to say she has demei tahara for another 33 days. It means opinion of Ben was in between. Opinion of Ben's not worth mentioning, right? That means they're talking somehow diverting from about Mila, not about opinion of Ben or any other things that happened to that kid in course of her her process of becoming tahar again. This is something which needs explanation. Rashi opens up the parsha with a chazal. It's a medrash, and the medrash is it sounds nice. The medrash sounds nice, but when you think about it, it's like what does it say? It says like this. He brings from Rav Simlai. Rashi brings from Rav Simlai that just like that. Why is it that at Parshas Shmini ended off with the laws of kashrus? And then, Parshas Tazria launches into Hilchos Tumah V'Tara. Says, just like Adam was Nivra Ba'achrona, after the Behema Chaya Va'of, right? So also his Torah was this Parsha Ba'achrona, Achrei Toras Behema Chaya Va'of, because we talk about the laws of kashrus, the Behema and the Chayas and the office that you can eat, right, in the Dogim. So now we talk about Hilchos Tumah V'Tara. Right? It's a nice piece of poetry. What does it mean? And also, what does it mean? You call the kashrus Toras HaBehema. Right? Behemoths aren't chayiv in kashrus. We are. All of the Torah is the Torah of the Adam. But they're not, the Behema, Chaya, Ofis, and Dogim are not mitzvah in kashrus. We are. So what does it mean that that's called the Torah of the Chayas, and Hilchos Tumah V'Tara is called the Torah Adam? So what does it mean? That Hilchos Tumah V'Tara is Torah Adam.
It's talking about when a Chayav becomes a Jew.
Anyway,
that means the Torah with regard to eating, with regard to animals, then the Torah with regard to human beings. One is addressing the laws with respect. It's all laws, are human laws, are Jewish laws, but these are laws with respect to animals. These are laws with respect to people. We give the laws with respect to animals first. There's a parallelism now. Why is that significant?
You feed animals first.
You feed animals first too.
I think the whole thing needs explanation. First of all, that taka should be explained. Why man was created last? Taka, so everything needs explanation. So, why taka was man created last? So and why is that supposed to be paralleled in the halacha? And what does it mean even that that the laws of kashrus are the Toras Behema Chaya Va'of, right? So, right, that's another question that we have to deal with, right? So the Indian is like this. We'll start, discussing, Adam was Nivra Ba'achrona. Let's just start from the beginning. Right, what's the word in that? Why is it should be that if he's the most chashva thing, he should be created first. Right?
But everything serves him. That's the reason.
Okay, so
the world has to be prepared for him first.
So one could argue, like Rupzi is saying, that he needs to have everything in place, otherwise he can't survive. we could say that. But the Nefesh HaChaim, based on Chazal and Zoyars, Orph says in Shar Aleph, a different word. He says he threads it through. He says like this, when the Adam was created, it is all based on the Zohar. Everything that existed up to that point contributed to his construction.
Oh, it sounds like evolution.
But hey, it's a Zohar. It's based on the Zohar. Everything put a little shtick of itself into the Adam, and that's why it says Na'aseh Adam b'Loshen Rabim. What's the Loshen Rabim? It's all the koiches in the Bria, Elyonim and Tachtonim. All the Elyonim put a little piece of themselves in his neshama, and all the Tachtonim put a little piece of themselves in his guf. Man is a composite of all that exists. Mm-hmm. Right? So everything had to be created first because everything is providing the material for the Adam that is a composite of everything, and we're going to discuss that more in just a second. What that means.
That explains the heart valves they make from monkeys. They take heart valves out of monkeys and they
make it from also bovines. They make it from pigs.
Well,
from pigs and from cows.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, but listen, without getting so biological, let's talk more midas. Yudah ben Telma Omer, have a az kenamer, kal kanesha, ratz kitzvi, gibor ka'ari. You should have the midas of all the different animals, all their positive traits. Right? You don't expect the Ari to be anything more than Gibor Ka'ari. It doesn't have to be Kal Kanesher, Az Kanamer, right? Right? And the man has to have Kol Mida Nechona. From every Nivra that there is, every Nivra that has a good Mida, man is supposed to imitate that. Right? Because man indeed is the one that, is a composite of all the kochos, of everything that exists, right? And the purpose is, as we touched upon this last week, is that in the Tzuras Adam, this is the configuration of man, which has in it a piece of everything that exists. That is the proper configuration to unify the whole of the Bria. The whole of the Bria should also fall into place in a integrated system. But an integrated system, you have to decide what goes what connects to what. An integrated system.
But man exceeds everything that came before him because nobody has the mental power that we have.
Right.
So where did that come from?
Very good. Excellent.
What power?
And the mental power, which is greater than the sum of the part. Excellent. Tzvi, right on. I could stop right here. You machavim to shir. Right? The central yesod that we're trying to get at, right? That the Adam is the one that pulls everything together, and we touched upon this last week, right? About that the Mishkan is like a macro man, and man is a mini universe, right? And that the tzura of the Mishkan is parallel to the tzura of the Adam, which is supposed to be the tzura of the Olamas. But like the Ramchal writes in Das Tunis, when I once taught this in Michlalah, they gave me such blank stares. Right, I said, the Ramchal says it's like the mechanical clock, right? That all the big cogs are all connected to the little cog in the center, and when that little cog in the center turns, everything else turns. So what holds everything together is really the central cog, and when that little cog, it's the smallest cog, but because everything's connected to it, when it moves, everything moves. And I said that's the Ramchal's mashal for the Adam. Even though he's a small creature, but his guf and neshama is all very, very complexly hooked up, right? He's the little cog in the center holding everything together, and when he moves, everything moves. So I explained, so girls looked at me and asked me, what's a mechanical clock?
No, you said years.
I mean, this was in 2007. That's no way. Yeah? Really?
It's a mechanical clock. There's no battery in here.
Really? From when? When is it from?
No, they make them today.
Really?
These are all the
as a novelty item?
No, these are the expensive watches all have winding. I wind it every day. But most of them are automatics, so they wind when you move your hand.
Yeah, those are not very good. The mechanism is breaks after a while.
They do?
Yeah.
This one I wind myself. Keeps perfect time.
Wow.
I've cost about it. Better ones of course, but these are the expensive ones. This is a panel.
So I'll tell you, they had no idea what I was talking about. They had no idea. Mamash not. And I tried to explain it.
Kids. They know cars have gears.
Yeah.
You should have brought a clock with you.
No, well, I'm not going to find a mechanical clock. No, so I had to switch and say a different mashal. The mashal Rebar Kosover of the lever. Give me a lever and a place that I'll move the world. That's his mashal for the autumn. Small as he is, he's got the lever. The way he's hooked up is a lever.
I don't know what kind of education they have, but in physics they teach you about gears and gears.
All right, whatever.
They didn't know for the chassan, chassan watch.
Yeah, I think it has a battery, right?
It says they buy a chassan watch.
Anyway.
Sure.
By the way, the Rolex.
They buy a silver mezuzah or something. Cheap kind of thing like that. It's just real after a while.
All the expensive watches do not have batteries because there's no status to a watch with a battery because there's no difference between one and the other. You need a watch that has a mechanical setup because that's the art of building watch.
All right. So the Adam is so the Adam, who's the little cog in the center, but he's that little cog center unifies the whole system and really controls the whole system. When that little cog moves, all the big wheels move. Right? So he's holding it all together, and he's not just holding it all together in a static way; he's holding it together in a dynamic way. Because when he moves, everything moves and follows his lead. That's the Adam, right? Pulls it all together, and this is the integration that we spoke about last week. That the Adam adds the koach that pulls everything together, right? And that's what we emphasized at great length last week, and subsequently in a different forum, mamish the next day, I spoke in the Whiteshell, and I said that's also what has to do with the eating. Everything gets incorporated into the Adam, and it finds its more elevated place through being incorporated in him. As like eating, so after the Mishkan, Hakamas HaMishkan is eating, and the two go together. It's all the kochos of the Bria being assimilated into the Tzuras Adam. It takes on the configuration of the Adam, and that's called to pull the pieces together in the proper order that causes them to progress and evolve and move forward. Right? Yes.
So that's why in Simcha B'Basar V'Yain.
Well, part
everything has to be integrated to be able to get to that.
Integration. Yeah. No, we explained in that other forum. That's why Jews have an unbelievable appetite. You didn't right? You didn't have a insatiable appetite. Right? So, no, there's a ruchniistic nakuda to it, and we all said that's why the Israeli economy, in Eretz, are always since David HaMelech's time. You gotta do milchemes roshus, insatiable appetite. They said, because Am Yisrael, which is the Tzura Atem Kurim Adam, the real perfected Tzuras Adam, is meant to incorporate everything. That's why I have a tremendous appetite, for the world conspiracy, to, bring it all in to the Tzelem. Right, which is to put the universe in its proper configuration, right? And that's what Ritzi was saying. That's what we do to be metaken the behema chayav va'of. Right, so the laws of kashrus, right, is a tikkun. Of course, it's me who has the responsibility to metaken the behema chayav va'of, and through the laws of kashrus, I help those life forms find their proper place. The ones that are meant to be consumed and incorporated are incorporated. The ones that are not meant to be consumed are rejected. And thus, everything is finding its proper place. What's meant to be incorporated is incorporated. What's meant to be pushed away is pushed away. And that, is also, in the big picture, causing making Seder in all the kochos of the Bria, everything finding its proper place and its proper way to... The things that are meant to be combined are combined. Things that are meant to be kept separate are kept separate. Right, got to keep separate, etc., etc. Right, but that's what I'm doing, for the Bria, right? But then there's the Nakuda called the Adam per se that sets him apart from the rest of the Bria. Right? Like we'll see, point out, his intelligence, and a function of his intelligence is Koach HaDibur, right? That he's the Medaber, that's something which no other animal has. Right? Right? But it's not really, and I'll explain why. And I'll explain why. Why the parrot speech is not really speech, right? Because the truth is, and this gets into Mamisha, what's going on in this week's parasha. What?
So I actually heard Tversky this past Sunday, and he asked the same question: what sets apart a person different than a behema? So he said, aside for deeper intelligence, the desire to live for something greater. That's what he said. Not just living, doing whatever you want.
Well, we're going to say something a little bit different, a little bit similar, but a little bit different. Right? The truth is like this. Let's ask a question. So the Adam, is his special quality that sets him apart, not a composite, but apart from the Behema Chayvos, is Koach HaDibur. And we know that's how the ancients divided up, the forms of existence are Domem, Someach, Chaim, Medaber. Right? The inanimate, the vegetable, the animal, and the one who speaks. I want to ask a question like this. What do you need Dibur for? The animals can communicate without language just fine. They can mate. They even have. It's amazing thing. They have hierarchies. They have communities. It's an amazing thing, and they even have achrayas for each other. It is amazing if you really study this. They're not as they're not mindless. Like people would imagine. They have a sense of community. They have a brotherhood. They have their families, packs. It's amazing. And they get along just fine. They do better than we do as far as successful societies, productive societies, peaceful societies. Right? So what do you need language for? They don't have language, and they get along, and they are able to communicate sufficiently to conduct their affairs. It's amazing. Even insects, bees, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but they can't communicate with another bee from another hive, and neither can animals communicate with an animal from another community.
If they have a cell phone, they could.
They don't need a cell phone. Their communication is based on vocals, looks, stares, and body language. And it kind of isolates them in their own community.
How do you know that they can't get along with others?
Because you see what happens when they try.
No, it's just no. They just protect themselves. They form groups and everything, but they.
No, I would say a little differently. I think they're definitely not able to share ideas. Even they could communicate. They can't share ideas.
Ooh, bingo! It's something totally different, right? Language is not. It's not about. We don't need language to mate. We don't need language to do commerce. We do business with the Chinese who don't understand one word they're saying. Right? They say money talks. Whatever, right? It's not. You don't, right? You don't need to have a extensive vocabulary to do any type of commerce or to procreate, or anything, right? Language is the ability to share ideas. Now the sharing is both lateral and to up and down and right left, in the sense that that if I have an idea, I had a Einfall, right, I could bring it into the world by putting it into words, right? So that's there's like bringing an idea from the world of ideas into the world through the medium of speech into our physical world, right? It also goes the other way, goes bottom up, right? That I could, speak to HaKodesh Baruch Hu, right? I could daven, right? Say everything that I'm feeling and want, And so it goes up, down, right, left. And people sharing ideas with each other, right? Well, the sense of brotherhood that mankind is supposed to have is supposed to be built on ideas and ideology, not on pragmatism. Animals have pragmatic communities. They band together, to help each other survive. the Adam was meant for a lot more than that. The Adam was meant, right, to with his intelligence, which expressed itself as speech, is to tap into the world of ideas, right? Bring it down and share with each other, and our relationships with each other should be based on ideas, not based on pragmatics, right? And that's what the Rambam writes in his Pirush HaMishnayos on the Knelech HaChaver. So he says like this, that he goes, there's a pragmatic friend, and then there's, and then he says there's a Chaver L'Davar Na'ala, right? The real Knelech HaChaver is that me and you are friends for a higher purpose. We band together because we have an idea. We have an ideal that we want to work together at. That's Ikar Chaverus, meaning that's the type of Chaverus that's unique, to the Adam. We have communities and joint projects for the sake of an ideal. Right? So that's what I say. Language is the ability to share ideas, communicate ideas. But of course, it comes in from the ability initially to tap into ideas. But it's more that you could bring it in and share and make ideas a part of the physical world. And we will conduct our affairs not based on pragmatism and survival, but based on ideals. Right? That's the special nekudas ha'adam. What is man per se, which gives him therefore the right and the authority. And to be the composite that'll hold the whole bria together. Why should everything throw in with the Adam? Let's make the lion like the central link that holds everything together. No, because it's right for the Adam to be the composite that holds the whole bria together, because he has this higher level. He is tapped into ideas, right? And this is what uniquely comes from the Adam's neshama. Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim, vayadam le'nefesh chaya. Everyone knows famous Onkelos. Nefesh chaya became a living creature. Ruach memalala. Right? It's a product of the neshama, and guf is the speech. Because, like we said, speech is about ideas, communicating ideas. Right? So man has that ability because he has a neshama from heaven, which is the world of ideas. Ideas are not physical. He has a neshama within his guf, and that's what gives him the power of speech. That's the power of ideas, becoming into.
Society can't advance without language, because the language is recorded, so that every generation could build on the knowledge and developments of the previous generation. We don't have to keep reinventing the wheel, because the wheel is handed over to us now. That's handed over through language.
Right.
Ideas. Society cannot advance without being able to communicate.
Right.
You give me an idea, and I give you maybe a better idea, and then society keeps
right. But it's all based on ideas. That advancement.
Yeah.
The advancement is all in ideas. Ideas, So of course, part of the ideas also produce technology, etc. And that's what's unique to the Adam, the koach of the koach hasichli and the koach, but not just stam seichel, because he doesn't have his revelations in a vacuum. He could share it with someone else, right? He could express it, and therefore he could create, communities based on ideas. That's really what the Jewish people are. The Jewish people is the greatest example, more than any other nation of earth, that our whole sense of brotherhood is purely based on ideas. This is what Rav Saadia Gaon said, Ein amenu uma ela b'toraso. Famous statement that everyone quotes from Rav Saadia Gaon, universally accepted. What makes us one nation is the Torah. We're all committed to that ideology. That's why, we might have, sadly, yes or no, Ashkenazim, Jews, might have a closer DNA match to German people or, wherever we've been hanging out for thousands of years, than to Sfaradim. I always say I wouldn't be surprised if Saddam Hussein, Yamach Shema, would be a closer DNA match to Avram Avinu, was also from Iraq, than any one of us, through all the generations and, the whole Erev Rav and the Gerim that we picked up over the, but Judaism is not about DNA. It's about Torah. So that's an amazing thing, that an Ashkenazi Jew and a Sephardi Jew, before everyone was pulled together. I mean, Dafka and Eretz Yisrael, they fight more than ever fought ever before, but they're getting a little better when they were scattered, right? But right the sense of brotherhood, between Jews that had been scattered, separate from each other, didn't share a common land or a common pragmatic survival. Well, our brotherhood is based on the Torah, right? And there's no other nation like that. No other nation that the whole national fiber is purely ideological, not pragmatic.
That's not true of all the religions.
I don't think.
The
The two Christian countries have a problem to bomb the hell out of each other. Two Christian countries, Arabs, they kill each other. There's
day.
what
Every day.
right. It's an amazing thing that by any Eisenhower he didn't have a problem bombing the hell out of Germany, even though you don't get a more German salad in than Eisenhower. I'm American now, my-ish, I immigrated, because by the other nations of the world, their nationhood is all an issue of pragmatism. We share the same slab of earth. We have the same borders. We have to work together. Look, we gotta work together. But that's all it's based on.
That sounds more like what the Nazis were trying to do: wipe out all the other ones that don't fit in, because they wanted some people to fit into their ideology of a pure race.
No. They were racist. They just wanted one stock, one type of
they took
one type of person. Now look, of course, you could have false ideals that people band around. Hashem Yerachem. Right? Except, Chazal tells us, Kreisiya Sheshem Shemaim Sof Liskayim, She'el Sheshem Shemaim Ein Sof Liskayim, like the Maharal says on that Mishnah, Migdal Bavel. They all got Nasel on Hashem when they had a common ideology, a common goal, right? But Ein Sof Liskayim, right? If the goal is false. But if the goal is true, it's Sof Liskayim. And Sof Liskayim, even if people are Mefuzar or Mefarad, if they all ascribe to the same goal, they'll still feel a sense of brotherhood. Mm-hmm. And that's only Am Yisrael, that even though we're Mefuzar and Mefarad and we, develop separately over 2,000 years, we still feel like one nation. Ashkenazim, Sfaradim, Teimanim, it's amazing. It's Davar Mavil al Arayim. That only Am Yisrael really, Pesod Atem Kruyim Odom, attained this, that the Amenu Uma B'Torasai, the one Torah that we have, makes us one nation. Right? A nation on a pure ideological basis. Right? And that was supposed to be, really to be the koach of the Adam. Create a whole different type of relation, not a pragmatic relationship and a bond based on ideology and ideals.
Unfortunately, a good portion of the Jews, maybe 90%, don't subscribe to these ideas. And so as a nation, we're really a failure because we're a really small group of people that really agrees with the basic ideas, the fundamental principles.
Right. Didn't you say Bernie Sanders spoke...
I just gave you an example. Bernie Sanders is like the worst Jew who ever lived. So it can't be a worse Jew than that. He's the only person who didn't attend AIPAC. He's the only person who didn't speak at AIPAC. The only candidate who didn't speak at AIPAC was Bernie Sanders.
Self-hating Jew.
There's no sense of identification with the Jewish people at all, which I think proves your point. It doesn't argue with you, it proves your point, which is that you have to have some kind of common ideal to feel close to the Jew, to feel Jewish at all. Mm-hmm. You have to be somehow connected to Torah.
Well, same thing with the English Jews, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So now we're getting into the Indian of Toras Ha'odam, right? The Torah is connected to kashrus is how the Adam is mitaken, the aspect of Behema Chayavof that is a part of him, But then what's the Adam Gufa, the Adam himself, right? So the Adam himself, right? That's the Adam's Koach HaDibur, right? Now the Koach HaDibur, right, is a function of Das, Now, das, as we know, as in to know in the biblical self, Adam Yadas Chava Ishto, das means connection. Right? And that's what Dibur does. It makes an ideological connection, a much more intimate connection than mating. And it's very interesting, Chazal, who want to speak Lashon Nikiya, right? Right, so when in the Mishnah in Ksuvis, they say Ra'uha midaberes, which means that they saw her doing bia. Ra'u midaberes. They use dibur as the mashal for zivug, connection. Right? But it goes deeper than that, right? Yosef Atzadik says, that it was kipi hamedaber alechem. You see, I'm talking to you in Lashon HaChodesh. That's first Pshat Rashi. Second Pshat Rashi, herolem shu mohu. He showed him that he had a bris milah. So, the aver that we do zivuk with is also called kivyachol peh. Right? Because connection. But of course, our connection is between ish ve'isha is kedusha, right? It's supposed to be on the basis of kedusha, as in kiddushin, right? You make her holy, daswa kuli alma kehegdish, right? Our zivuk is based on. That's right. Also, but like hegdish, it's all the getter adding kedusha, right? The Rambam Shita is, it made. I don't know if the halacha, the final halacha is like I don't know if it's like the Rambam. But Rambam has a Shita. Gets most Rishonim that even from a Panui and a Pnuyim, they're both Tahar, she's Tahara, it's still an Isser Doraisa of Losei Kadesha B'Bnos Yisrael. It's a Chi of Malkus, according to Rambam, Shitas Rambam. Right, that the Torah outlawed, what they call casual, zivuk, even though he's not married, she's not married, and she's Tahar. And see, lab of lo say kedesha. Kedesha means the opposite of kedusha. In Lashon HaKodesh, the roots, sometimes the verb is reversible, like shoresh and lisharesh, to uproot. Kedesha is the opposite of kedusha. Right? It's a lack of kedusha. Zivuk should not be lacking in kedusha. And it's according to Rambam, it's isser lav. Right? So there's no erva. It's still an isser lav. It was done without kiddushin. Right? Right, because our zivug, all our connections should be a function, right, of das, a function it's ideological. There's ideas and ideals behind it. Another word, for it is there's kedusha there, right? So now so here's the interesting that this goes into the idea of tahara, tumma and tahara, right? There's an amazing l'may nafkamina tumma and tahara, and we may have mentioned this last week. What difference does it make in halacha if you're tamei or if you're tahar, right? Or if she's tamei or she's tahar? There's two nafkaminas lahalacha. It plays two roles in halacha: zivug and bias hamikdash. Access to kedusha, as in to go to the base of mikdash and be able to eat kachim, right? Right? And zivug, between man and wife. Those are the two nafkaminas that it makes. Right? That if a woman, she's tamei, right? So asur and bia, right? She's a zava, as a asur and zivug. Right? The Mitzorah is Bodad Yeshev Michutz HaMachane. We're coming out of this week's parsha. He has to be alone, sealed off. Right? When you're tahar, and we may have mentioned this last week, tahar, all the passageways are open. But what does it mean, the passageways are open? But the passageways, not just the passageways to the meaningful things, like zivuk between man and his wife, or being able, having access to kachim, or to go into har habayis, access to kedusha, right? The ability to access kedusha, and also the zivug that has to be done by kedusha. If you're tamei, so the zivug is outlawed. No zivug. Right. So and we mentioned this last week. Tamei is miloshin, atum, sealed off. Tar is miloshin, open. And that's why we mentioned, that's what Gemara Shabbos says, Darshans, the Shisha Sidrei Meshna. So, Das ze Seder Taharos. Das is Seder Taharos. Right? The Midah of Das, connection, which is Dibur, is Seder Taharos. And that's why we find a very interesting thing. It's a Chazal in this week's Parsha. That just like there's Darshan Hilchos Tumah Tara, there's also Tara Saloshin. You should not speak, you have to speak Loshin Mekia, and therefore the Torah didn't want to say Behema Tmeah. Asher Einena Torah. Speak clean. There's Tahara Saloshin. An amazing thing. Tahara is an Afkamina Lezivuk, Tahara is not, also the way you speak. Like that, what we said by Yosef Atzadik, Kipia Medabra Lechem, speak Lashon HaKodesh. Also, Heroim Shum Mohul. Right? Amazing thing. The two go together. Right? It's all about connection. It's all about connection. Tahara makes connection. Right? And that's why it's Mida Keneged, Mida. Right? You could use the Koach HaDibur. It's meant to unite. You could use it to make the worst machlokas. Right? Because that's the way it works. If you win hard, you lose hard. The ability to, that's the way it works. The power to innovate could always be used destructively. There's nothing that divides people more than Lashon Hara. So as Dibur, that's right. Mida Keneged Mida. He becomes Tameh. He was Chote with his Dibur. He becomes Tameh. Because the Mida Keneged Mida. The Dibur is supposed to be Tahor also. The Dibur is supposed to make connections, share ideas, pull people in a sense of community for a higher sense. The ideological community. You use that koach l'ra, and to make machlokas where the animals don't have. They don't have the problem of lashon hara, motzi shemra, right? It's mamash using the koach of dibur for the bad. So mida keneged mida become tamei, right? And the nafkamina is, what is the outcome? Bodod yeshev michutz lamachane. You become isolated. Shiluach gimel machanas, right? Throw them out of the community. Out of the community. Community is supposed to be built on ideology. Use that koach, that potential to unite ideologically for the bad. Chucked out of the community, but also you become tamei, right? Because now you are atum. You're sealed off because you use that koach that was meant to unite and to open passageways, make windows, right? Tihara. Tar, make windows. You used it for the bad to create machlokas, so you become tameh. You become atum. You get sealed off. So now we can understand, a little bit the issue ubayom hashmini yimo b'sar laso, right? That bris milah. And that's what it says. It says Mefurish in Sefer Yetzirah. There's bris ha-loshon v'bris ha-ma'or. There are two britot, a brit of the loshon and a brit of, the bris milah, and they're mechuvanim. And bris is connection. You make a covenant. You make a bris. It's to make a inseverable.
I understand why they have mitzitza b'peh.
What? Very good, Rupsi. You have mitzitza b'peh, right? You add it like a shkafa to it. Very good. I like it. Kipia medaber. Yeah. I like it.
Well, that explains what has to be on the 8th day.
Right.
7 days of
Tumah. 7 days of Tumah. Right, and we're going to get into this now.
This is why she becomes Tahor on the 8th day.
Right, she becomes Torah on the 8th day. Because it says it shouldn't be that there's the Simcha the Bris, there's a Chazal, this is Parsha, right. And the mother and father are feeling bad because they can't be together.
So that's
it's all about togetherness. Right. It's all about Bris Milah. So you take off the Orla, which is Tameh. Chazal say called Parsh Mina Orla Parsh Mina Kever Midrabanan. It's like a Tumah Drabanan. Ha Parsh Mina Orla Parsh Mina Kever. And the Orla actually was sealing things off and really preventing the Zivug, B'Kedusha of Tara. You get rid of that block. That Orla is like the Atima, the Tum, right? So you get rid of it, right? And that's part of the Tahara process. That's why Midrabanan, Ger, Parsh Mina Orla, Parsh Mina Kever. Right? Midrabanan, I don't know if it's Din D'Oraisa, but it's Din D'Rabbanan, it's Kilu, there was a Tumah, from the orla that he has to separate from. Right? Right. So so bris mila is mechumen keneged bris haloshen, that Am Yisrael was granted, and that's Banu Bacharta Mikol Am Veloshen. We were chosen as a nation, but also mitzad the tongue, right? That we were given the Torah, and we were given the Torah to be that we should speak divrei Torah, lasuk b'divrei Torah, that we should build a community based on the ideals of the Torah, right? That we shouldn't just live robotically al pi the dictates of the Torah. We should bring the etzem ideas of the Torah into the world and build a community based on those ideas, right? That we have access to the divrei Torah, right? And that's really what separates Am Yisrael from the Bnei Noach. They have Sheva mitzvahs, but they don't have divrei Torah. They have dictates that came from the Torah. We have divrei Torah. We have the etzem ideas and ideology. Shenamar ki chochmaschem ubinaschem le'neam. We have the chochma and bina of Torah, which is captured in dibur. We mamash capture it, right? And the dibur capturing the ideas, and that's why it's called Torah sheba'al peh, right? We've captured these ideas. We've integrated them. The Torah sheba'al peh, right? It's come into the mouth. Right, meaning that we've integrated these ideas, and we share these ideas, and we influence the world. It's power of speech, influence and bond and community. Everything dibur is divrei Torah, right? And we have that, as a function that we have bris milah, right? That for the ra'ua midaberes, that our zivug also is b'kedusha uvitara, right? Right. And this is the newness we bring to the world. Right? We spoke last week, about there's the newness of integration, pulling the pieces together, that unleashes the potential that there is in everything. The potential of everything gets unleashed when it interacts with other things. But there's even a higher level of the tikkun that man brings to the world, which is man's even bigger innovation. His even bigger innovation, right, is that he brings ideas to the world. So, like, there's his baseline innovation of pulling the piece together. Besod Toras behema chaya va'of, right? What we accomplish through the laws of kashrus, of integrating everything into the Tzelem Elokim. But then there's adding another level of bringing the world of ideas into the physical world, right? And it also has to do with the upcoming Chag of Pesach, Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. Sipur, bring the ideas into the world, and we speak about this in our series. Pesach. Right? Pesach, bring that's why Sipur, tell the story. Bring these ideas into the world. Bring them in, right? And that's Yochol Me Rosh Chodesh. And we have it should start from Rosh Chodesh. Why should it start from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, HaChodesh Zelachem? Because that's where the process really starts from. Right? Rosh Chodesh is a concept. Right? New moon. It's a new month. It's a new tkufa. That's an idea. The moon, physically just goes through cycles. Rosh Chodesh is an idea. Right? How does that idea chal? Because Bezdin says, Mekudesh, Mekudesh, Mekudesh. Bezdin says, the dibur of Bezdin is what makes it, right? And that's HaChodesh Elchem. The Medrash says, Al Tikra Chodesh Ela Achidush, right? And it's the first mitzvah we got as a people, because we are supposed to bring newness to the world. But the newness is on two levels. Aside from integration of the pieces, there's the icing on the cake, which is even bigger than the cake, right? To bring concept to the world. Right? Unite mankind on a basis of ideals and ideology that everyone's going to speak Lashon HaKodesh. Likra kulam b'shem Hashem ula avdo b'shem echad. Unite, make a brotherhood of man based on the ideology of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? We bring ideas into the world and creates a whole new system of connection, conceptual connection, meaningful connection. Not just pragmatic connection. And that's all called tahara. Right? Tumah is when that's all blocked up. right? And that's it. So Am Yisrael that has Divrei Torah has also Bris Milah. So Bris Milah, like you all point out, is on the 8th day when her Tumah is over, her initial state of Tumah, right? It's about, because things are, unlinked on a certain level until we pull them together conceptually, creating the conceptual connection that physical entities, every entity is, onto its own. And in the mind, I group them together. 3 bottles. That's a concept. 3 bottles, right? Pulling things together with concept, the conceptual connection, right? That koach is dibur. That koach is tahara. And when things, regress to being, conceptually unlinked, right? That's called tumah. Everything is atum. Everything is separate onto its own. Bris Milah is about bris, connection. Right? And that's what it's between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the inseparable connection. Dar Melchus in the Merchatz felt bad, there's no connection. No, Niskar B'Milah, always connected. And that's also, the Bris Milah, is, with the Zachar and the Nekeva, making the connection. That's Big Kedusha. That's what Bris Milah has to do with overcoming Tumah. Tumah is for 7 days, when the 7 kochos are each one separate, like the separate 7 days. Bris Milah is on the 8th that pulls it all together, right? And it's called what the Adam added to the world. So it's an amazing medrash in this week's parasha. Tunas Rufus Harosha. Asked Rabbi Akiva, who does better, God or man? So Akiva, without missing a beat, said, man does better. I can't believe a religious man would say that. He said, yeah. No, so he said first, so when it steps, right? He says, well, yeah, God makes wheat, we make cake. So Tzimtzum says, well, how did you know? I was really going to ask you. I was expecting you to say God does better. So I was going to ask you, well, God makes the man oral. Why are you rebelling against nature, which is from God, and making him mohu? But Yichat Miyos, you said, well, God makes wheat and we make cake. It's nifla ma'od, this whole exchange. Why is it that when Adam Rishon, the Medrash says, the Maral says this, that the Medrash says that when Adam heard, Kotz v'rar tatzmiach v'esav tochal, you're going to eat grass. So Adam Rishon panicked and said, Shema ani v'chamori niksharim le'evusachas. Me and my dog going to eat out of the same food bag. When he heard bezeh asapecha tochal lechem, he calmed down. Niskara daito. This explains the Maral, because Adam Rishon thought he went down to the level of a behema. I'm no better than an animal. I used to be choshev before I from the Yitzhak, now I'm mamash a behema. Right? And me and Roy, that me and my chamor, miloshen chomer, I'm just a piece of meat, like my donkey chomer. We should eat out of the same food bag, because I'm no better than him. Right? When HaKadosh was told him, B'zeh asapecha tochal lechem, what was the message? Message was, lechem is a recipe. Recipe is chokhmah. The Adam, thinks, it's the most basic invention,
The Egyptians invented
slice bread.
What?
No, the Egyptians are supposed to invent it.
Yeah?
Well, the Chazal say that's why they didn't allow Jews to eat the bread together. And, the decree in Egypt was that the Egyptians could not eat bread because they considered it to be an elevated food. They invented it. It was unique to them. It's unique to them.
No, so it's elevated food because it's chokhmah, right? You added chokhmah to the world. It was just the natural world without gilui chokhmah, it grows as wheat. With chokhmah, you grind it and you bake it and you make it. So HaKadosh was telling about if the basic message is you are what you eat. You're going to eat food that has intellect in it. You still have a ma'ala sichlis, and you're not the same as your behemah. You're not the same as a donkey, right? That's what bread represents. The Adam is a bardas. He's a bardas, and he brings the power of concept into the world. Like bread is the power of concept influencing reality, because the natural, you don't get bread naturally, but with chokhmah, with the infusion of chokhmah, you get bread, right? And that's what Rabbi Akiva is saying is what Bris Milah is all about. You're right, man is naturally an oral, but man also is, naturally, with the world of concept, not interacting with us, man naturally is an oral, right? And therefore, right, because man is naturally an oral, that means that he is lacking, the conceptual refinement, like wheat is lacking the conceptual refinement that is bread, the conceptual advancement. Same thing, the Adam that's oral. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants man to make himself a mohel.
Perfect.
Yes, Isha, that's halacha. Isha commanda mehila damya. It's a Gemara. She is like already mohel. She's pre-mohel. She's like nolad mohel, right? And the other is to perfect himself, just like I'm supposed to perfect, make wheat into bread. Rabbi Kiva is saying. So also you make. But what does that mean? Think about the omic of the metaphor, right? It is about bringing the power of man will bring the power of concept into reality, and refashion reality with the power of concept. That's what bread is, and that's what bris milah is. Connect that, and that's the ikra chiddush that the Adam brings to the bria. That's the ikra chiddush. And it's all called the koach of peh. That's why bris halosha connected bris hamor, right? That he's got to be mashpia concept into the world, and that's why the zivug also has to be bekdusha tar. It's a davar yadua that you have to be careful what you think at the time of zivug. It has a tremendous influence on the kids you're going to have. You have to there's be taras hamachshava, and Chazal tell us that you think dirty things at the time of zivug. Think about another woman. It's a terrible thing. It's amazing. The zivug, by Am Yisrael is a tremendous conceptual time where concept makes all the difference in the world. Right? That's what bris milah is, putting the koach of concept in our chiburim, in our interactions. It's like in mouth, interactions based on concepts. Also in the more physical zivug, it also has to be conceptual. And bris milah is to put the power of concept into our zivug as putting the power of concept into wheat and making it bread. That's the equation, right? And that's HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim, right? It's Am Yisrael was given the power of innovation that declaring the calendar. Calendar is a concept. Time is the ideas of months, that's all conceptual. But that concept brings all the kedusha into the world. If we'd ever lose the luach, there wouldn't be Yom Tov anymore. The Yom Tov, the kedusha samoadim, is all because of the calendar. Called the HaChodesh Lachem, right? If we'd ever lose the luach, there would be no Yom Tov anymore. There would still be Shabbos because HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes Shabbos. We don't make Shabbos.
Was Shabbos invented by the Jews? The 7-day week was invented by the Jews?
The Kuzri thinks it was already from a Masorah that Rishon got from God. That's why he claims all humanity has 7-day week. That's the Kuzri says that. Kuzri claims that because 7 days is from God. So Shabbos there still be because Shabbos is from God. It's natural. It's natural.
Is that universal in every culture, in every place?
I can't tell you.
All of history that there was a 7-day week.
I can't tell you.
The only thing that has no natural parallel.
Right.
It's the days of the week, because the month is the moon and the year is the sun and everything else. But the days of the week is just like an invention. It's arbitrary, totally arbitrary. But it's reflected a little bit in nature,
Yes.
It's not one thing that's reflected. You can catch up on sleep one day in 7 days.
Yeah.
After that, you can't catch up on sleep anymore.
Wow.
Are you aware of that? I read a study. There's nothing to do with this.
So you never catch up?
You never catch up. That's lost. That's lost sleep. You can't catch up. You can't recoup it. You can't recoup sleep that you missed. It has an effect on the body, but sleep should be caught up once in 7
Wow.
days. I should have pulled out the article. I read in the newspaper and I said, oh my God.
It's a weekend. Sunday.
But there is something in nature that's based on the 7 days.
That's why there's a Christian weekend on Sunday. That's why their week starts on Monday. It's exactly the opposite. Their Sunday is the day they catch up on their sleep. Unlike the Jewish people.
They never sleep during.
You got a point.
Anyway, so this is the word, and this is what Parshas Tazria, Hilchos Tumah Vitara. That's Mashmini Yimo B'Sora Lasso. It has to do with the overcoming of Tumah. Tumah is in 7. It keeps things separate, and Tahara is in concept, and the Yom Mashmini Yimo B'Sora Lasso is infusing the power of concept, right? In our chiburim, which is what Dibur is all about, and that's why everything Chazal tells us. All mitzaras, all ba'avon lashon hara. Everything that's written in this matter is ba'avon lashon hara. Right? Bris haloshen keneged bris hamor, and that's the real newness that the Adam brings to the world. The real newness that, what's called the Adam per se, not how he's pulling the animals together. Now it's just uniting, but the Adam per se, something special about him, above his job as a connector, right, is to bring, connector of the components of the Bria, is to bring the power of concept into the world, which is Dibur. Bring the power of concept in the world, bring the world of ideas into the physical realm, and refashion the physical realm based on ideas and ideology. That's what we do with the Koach HaDibur. That's what we do with the Koach of Bris Milah. Right? And that's the Ikra Chiddush. And that's HaChodesh Zelachem. That Bezdin with their Dibur of, that's the Chodesh and the Kodesh, bring the calendar's a pure conceptual thing. It's a concept. Right? But it's a concept that's the shorish of all Kedushas. Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Right? This is what we wanted to explain.
So which one's